Mali has seized 3 tons of gold from Canadian mining company Barrick Gold, which has operated in the West African country for decades.
This is a very big revelation, I guess. Looks like Africa is waking up. Looks like Africa is waking up, and I like it. I love to see it, man. I just wish, guys, keep on praying for us. May God protect this nation, because the common sense that African leaders are getting lately, if they lose that, man, I don't know. I really don't know. I need you guys to tell me what you think in the comment section about Canada being called out by Mali for causing unsettlement so that they can get gold.
Mali previously said Barrick Gold owed the government over $500 million in unpaid taxes, but a recent statement by Mali's economy ministry placed the figure at $5.5 billion. Barrick Gold CEO Mark Bristow wrote to staff members on Sunday, January 12th, confirming that the Malian government had seized 3 tons of gold. Bristow, however, said Barrick Gold was waiting for confirmation from government that the gold had safely reached its destination. Malian officials had recently notified Barrick Gold that the state would seize gold from the company over unpaid taxes. The Associated Press reports that the seized gold is being stored at a government facility in Mali's capital, Bamako. A senior manager of Barrick Gold who spoke to the Associated Press said the gold was taken from a mine near Kai in western Mali and transported by aircraft and a truck to Bamako on Saturday, January 11th. Reuters reported on Monday that 2 Malian Air Force helicopters were used in the transportation. Kai and Bamako are hundreds of kilometers apart. The Associated Press says the seized gold is valued at approximately $180 million, while Reuters estimates the value to be $245 million. Barrick Gold has since written to the Malian government saying it would be obliged to temporarily suspend operations at 2 of its mining sites in western Mali. Barrick Gold says it has been tax compliant and that it paid $85 million to Mali in October as part of its quarterly remittances. Lulo Gunkoto Mines in western Mali is Barrick Gold's main mining complex. It is 80% owned by Barrick Gold and 20% owned by the Malian government. Barrick Gold has been in a dispute with Malian authorities since 2023 over a contract on new mining rules. The dispute has boiled over, resulting in Mali's detaining Barrick Gold's 4 senior executives in November 2024 and issuing an arrest warrant for CEO Mark Bristow in December. Mali accuses Bristow of alleged money laundering allegations he denies. In December, Mali also ordered the seizure of Barrick Company's gold reserves. Barrick Gold, which has operated in Mali for 30 years, has offered to pay $370 million to Mali to resolve the escalating dispute. In recent times, Mali, which has been under military rule since 2020, has placed foreign mining companies under pressure as the West African nation pursues more revenues. In November, the CEO of Australian company Resolute Mining and 2 employees were arrested in Bamako. They were released after the company paid $80 million to Malian authorities to resolve a tax dispute and promised to pay a further $80 million in the coming months. In 2023, Mali produced 105 tons of gold, making it the 2nd largest gold producer in Africa, behind Ghana, and 11th in the world.
For decades, Western companies in Africa have enjoyed massive profits with no tax paid and access to abundant resources at a cheap rate. Meanwhile, African countries have not been able to benefit from their abundant resources. However, the military leaders of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have decided to do something about it and ensure that their countries benefit from their resources. But guess what? The Western companies in the 3 countries are not happy with the way things are going. They are not happy that the military leaders are demanding better benefits for the exploited resources. As a result, Barrick Gold, for instance, has threatened to halt mining operations in Mali. And, at the same time, French uranium company Orano has opened a legal case against Niger. The question is, how will these actions affect Niger and Mali? Let's find out. On Monday, January 6, 2025, Barrick Gold, a Canadian gold mining company that is also the 2nd largest gold miner in the world, said that it would suspend operations in Mali if the country does not lift restrictions on gold shipments within the coming week. Barrick Gold has been in Mali, exploiting its gold mines for more than 20 years. In fact, you could say that Barrick Gold is the major gold mining company in Mali, as it accounts for more than 40% of Mali's total gold production. The company's investment also accounted for around 6% of Mali's GDP in 2018. However, since 2023, Barrick Gold and the authorities of Mali have been engaged in a serious dispute that is threatening to upend the decades-long relationship. Prior to Colonel Assimi Goïta's assumption of power in Mali, the country's previous government enforced a national mining code that all international businesses had to follow. However, the mining code gave the Western Mining Company more advantages than any other African nation that deals with foreign corporations. For example, the code permitted Barrick Gold to own 80% of the Luolo-Gounkoto gold mine, while Mali could only own a maximum of 20%. Furthermore, the code exempted these businesses from paying taxes while they were in operation. Think about the amount of tax money that the Malian government has been losing out on. However, that was the deal, and these businesses profited from the code for years. However, in August 2023, Colonel Assimi Goïta signed a new mining code into law. Prior to this time, Colonel Assimi had pledged to the people of Mali that he intended to implement a reform that would make gold shine for Malians. So he launched an audit of the mining sector, and guess what? The audit revealed that every year, Mali was losing about $500 million to $1 billion in mining revenues. Imagine that. So, on August 28, 2023, Colonel Assimi signed a new mining code into law. According to the statement released, the new mining code allows the government to take up to 35% stakes in new mineral projects and collect more revenues from the vital industry. The code also increases the taxes mining companies are obligated to pay to the government by cutting a tax reduction for corporations from 15 years to 3 years and removing VAT exemptions for mining production. In addition to this, the law will also create a new local development fund, with money coming from the government, which will pay 20% of its mining royalties, and mining companies, which will contribute 0.25% of their turnover. In effect, this will create 2 new revenue streams siphoning money from miners such as Barrick and towards local projects. The implementation of the new code has the potential of generating $820 million annually for Mali. However, mining companies like Barrick Gold have refused to adhere to the new code. According to Barrick Gold, the mines it is exploiting, including the Luolo-Gounkoto mine, should be subject to the previous code, which was in force at the time of their commissioning.
10 of Africa's gold-producing nations produced a total of 776 tons of gold in 2023. That amount of gold would be valued at about $67 billion using today's gold prices. And in 2023, it was slightly over $53 billion. Gold prices can only go up. That is why many people buy gold bars to protect their wealth, cushion themselves against inflation, and build a personal store or value. Let me put it differently. The average annual inflation rate in Africa was nearly 18% in 2023. That essentially means the items one used to buy using $100 at the start of the year would cost about $118 by the time the year ends. If a person saves $10,000 at the start of the year, inflation would erode some $1,800 by the end of the year. The rich acquire gold to cushion themselves against such losses. Now back to our story. Africa's top gold producers and why the precious metal can be a game changer for them. The leading gold producers in Africa are Ghana, which produces slightly over 135 tons of gold in 2023, followed by Mali at 105 tons, and then South Africa at 104 tons. Burkina Faso, which produced 99 tons of gold, and Sudan, which produced nearly 73 tons, round up Africa's top 5 gold-producing nations in 2023, and that's according to the World Gold Council. The other countries in the top 10 are Guinea, Tanzania, Cote d'Ivoire, Zimbabwe, and the Democratic Republic of Congo in that particular order. With their gold valued at about $53 billion collectively in 2023, the funds can do many great things for the gold-producing countries. For illustration purpose, we'll use Ghana, which is Africa's #1 gold producer. It's 135 tons of gold in 2023 and the country about 7.6 billion US dollars in revenue, according to official records. Gold accounts for over 40% of the country's total exports. But what can 7.6 billion US dollars do for an economy? First, it may cushion the country against large budget deficits, therefore reducing the need to borrow to finance government expenditure. Secondly, the money helps in keeping forex reserves healthy, thereby ensuring manageable import costs. Road and rail networks, hospitals, schools, among other development projects can be sufficiently financed using the funds. A gold-producing nation can also use the precious metal to back its forex reserves, therefore stabilizing the local currency. But even with its blessings, gold has often landed countries in undesirable situations, such as externally sponsored conflicts to create an environment for smuggling for the precious resource. Illegal gold mining has also cost African governments billions of US dollars in revenue. It has also left behind a trail of destruction and disease, given unregulated gold miners dig huge tracts of farmland and forests and pump chemicals in search of gold. This has rendered lands unusable for habitation or farming and water bodies poisoned. But with a decisive and caring leadership that puts citizens' interests first, gold can be the ultimate game changer in Africa's quest to lift its people out of poverty.
Mali in West Africa seized 3 tons of gold from a Canadian company called Barrick because of the dispute of this company exploiting the system in Mali, which had been the case for decades. But the new Mali's government have decided to take the bull by the horn. The government sent out a letter to this Canadian company warning them that they need to pay the backlog of all the money they owe to Mali, both in taxes and in revenue. Failure to do so will result in actions against this company. But the company thought Mali was joking. The letter was sent to this company by the investigating judge called Boubacar Moussa. But the company thought Mali was joking. They thought it was like the previous government where they used bribery and corruption to ruin everything. But the new military government did not have any of that. They went in and seized a staggering 3 tons of gold. According to the senior manager of the company, he said the gold was taken from one of their mines near Kayes in the west and transported by plane and trucks to the capital. The gold in its raw form is valued, rough estimate, 270 million US dollars. Yeah, 270 million US dollars. Let me take you back. Let me remind you of last year. In December 2024, Mali issued an arrest warrant for Bristow in charging of, in the charge of money laundering without giving evidence, because they know this is what this guy is doing in Africa. They see their movement, but because the previous government got, they ruined everything with bribery and corruption, the new military government went in, arrested Bristow without even giving any evidence. They arrested him and threatened to seize Barrick gold reserve. Guess what the company did immediately? They paid 370 million US dollars in settlement, just like that, because they know if the government comes in, they will take more than that. So can you imagine paying 370 million US dollars just for settlement? Let me take your mind back again. In November 2024, the CEO of an Australian company called Resolute Mining and 2 of its employees were arrested in Bamako. They were arrested for charges of money laundering and failure to pay taxes and declare money or whatever. Guess what that company did? The Resolute Mining Company. They paid 160 million US dollars to the Mali's government in settlement just to resolve the tax and the revenue dispute. 160 million US dollars. They paid the first 80 million US dollars, and then I think about a month later, they paid the rest of the 80 million US dollars, making it a total of 160 million US dollars. Can you imagine? Just like that, all of these companies are carrying out illegal businesses and mining in Africa, not just in Mali. But now the military government in Mali is making them cough all the money back up in taxes and settle all their debt, all the money they hold to Mali. The new Mali government is now demanding the money. And guess what? They are paying up. They are paying up because somebody reasonable is now in charge of the country.